A very, very warm good evening once again to everyone. Very warm welcome. Good morning to everyone attending from different parts of the world. Uh, Gratitude and nothing else to everyone who has been a part of this journey with us all and who is here yet again, to show us support and to be a part of this great venture, this historic moment that is happening for not only, I would say, the Indian philosophical community, but the philosophical community globally as a whole. We are here today with the organizing team, the well-wishers, and everyone who has given blessings to the Philosophical Practitioners Association of India. We will be talking a little bit more about the entire organization as a whole and welcoming everyone on board, even though the work has already started, but formally we will be starting the venture as a whole. And for that, to begin the proceedings, I would like to invite on board one of the directors of the organization, Professor Bala, to shed some light, as the prayer, also said, to shed some light and to drive away the ignorance that comes from darkness. Professor Bala, to you, sir.
Thank you, Charu. Namaste to all of you. Welcome, everyone. Professor Lou, who is the chief guest of today's event, and guests who have joined us today, and the international community, philosophical community, which has been very supportive and which has joined us today. Indian community, teachers, students, friends, well-wishers, curious onlookers. There are some people who just want to see, curiously what is happening and whether this would be of some use at all. No, these are very important because witnessing self is so important for the life. You have to witness yourself and you should let others witness you so that that makes more meaning to the life. That's why I believe curious onlookers and philosophical practitioners, enthusiasts. I welcome you all to this very important moment, that's inauguration of Philosophical Practitioners Association of India. I thought we should start with this prayer, Upanishadic prayer. Eternal truths are very important for us. Eternal truths are not just for a particular period of time. They keep on guiding us. They keep on supporting us with their wisdom. So one such kind of eternal truth is Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Murchorma Amurtangamaya, leading us from untruth to truth, and from darkness to light, and also from something that is temporary to something that is permanent and knowledgeable. So I'm glad that we could begin this day with all of your presence and resonating that positivity. That's so important. Interestingly, friends, as long as I was in India, I was making all my efforts, and all of us are working together with the support of all of you. And we couldn't inaugurate it there. And when I moved to Jamaica, I don't know what kind of centrifugal forces work. I don't know about physics, but this is all about metaphysics, right? We have to go beyond physics to understand certain things. Then it started working well, and the actions that we were putting, they got consolidated, and then they also started fructifying, and that's so we are in this very important historical moment in which we are now. I strongly believe, friends, there is never, ever only one beginning. There is no the beginning. There are only many beginnings, and we just have to go with these beginnings and witness them and be a part of these beginnings that happen. when I'm saying this, for example, this organization, Philosophical Practitioners Association of India, though we are beginning today, it's not that it began today. It began as an idea few years back, and it began as a philosophical counseling movement a few years before that in India, and began in the world a few years before around, somewhere. So this is how it's like beginnings are many. And we are going to have one such beginning of the organization here today, Philosophical Practitioners Association of India. And this beginning is also like, I am properly guided by my colleague Vikas. He tells me that inaugural, when I told him we should have an inaugural, he said, why inaugural, one inaugural? There should be many inaugurals. Why do you think that everything is going to begin on one day? No, it doesn't happen that way. So it was such a eternal truth, that's what is guiding all of us. And then I thought, oh, whatever he's saying is making so much of sense. And we have to have multiple beginnings, because we are going to have multiple beginnings, whether you realize it or not. That's the case. That's how it moves. If I have to mention about the history, I am supposed to talk about how we have come to this level of inaugurating an event. Inaugurating this organization, association. Few years back, I gave a talk in one of the colleges in India, in Delhi, on philosophical counseling. That was my first kind of an address, and people ridiculed me, saying that, what are you talking about? What is this nonsense? And even my own senior colleague in the department was on the stage, and he said, there is nothing called the philosophical counseling or philosophical practice. And then after my talk, he agreed with me kindly, and then I had a very good response from the students as well. So, and then during the COVID, we happened to meet Professor Lou Marinov. I'm eternally grateful to him, because the initial support that I got from him when I told him that, when we had the initial interactions, and I told that philosophical practice has to be useful to the immediate concerns that people are facing during the COVID-19 time, and we need some guidance as to know how the international experience is. He came forward and he supported us with his organization, with his knowledge, and with his wisdom, and also with his compassion. As a international philosophical community, you cannot develop alone. When we are sitting here now, we are standing on the heads of Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, and all these people are already buried, and we are standing on them. We are using their wisdom and standing on them. So it's like the kind of compassion that is required towards each other and as a community. And I got it resonated in the support that I gained from Lou Marinov, Professor Lou Marinov. And that's what prompted us after the certification program. We promised ourselves, initially we could not bring everybody there. We were only 14 people from India, and we were trained by American Philosophy Practitioners Association under the guidance of Professor Lou Marinov. After the certification, we promised three things to ourselves. Okay, these three. First one is like coming out with a special issue of a journal, Appa's journal, Philosophical Practice, where we would fully focus on Indian philosophical practice. And we fulfilled that. I'm so happy to say that we could do that. The second promise that we made to ourselves is like organizing an international conference. And that also we could do during this January with the support of all of you and with the wonderful efforts of my colleagues and students. And the third important thing that we promised to ourselves is setting up an organization which would help everybody, in India, abroad, work as a nodal agency, help individuals to think in terms of practicing philosophy, because we have been teaching philosophy. We have to, and people also have spoken about doing philosophy. We are not just talking about teaching and doing. We are talking about practicing philosophy. How do you practice it in your life? That's more important, and that makes it, these two meaningful. Like teaching philosophy and doing philosophy would become meaningful only if you are practicing philosophy. Otherwise, we remain only as a professional teacher, and researcher. We have to be a. We need not. We can remove the tag of professional and become human being. That's the most important thing. That I think that would be the reason why last World Philosophy Congress was themed as relearning to be human. That really disturbed me when I read this tag of relearning to be human for a long time. So I believe that's what is required, and philosophical practice really pushes us in that framework. That's what I strongly believe. So the purpose of this organization is to break these three myths, explode these three myths that we have towards philosophy. The first myth is philosophy is all about religion only, religion alone. And the second one is philosophy is completely otherworldly and is not useful for everyday life. And the third one is there is nothing to practice, but only to teach, research, and renounce. Right? Teach, research, and renounce, and nothing to practice. So the purpose with which we have began our journey of this organization is to break and explode these three myths and tell the people, because see, within academic community, we may be talking about it, but still we are minority, but we have to make people understand that whatever is happening here is very much useful to the community at large, and we are working in this direction. But otherwise, it is a non-profit organization that we have set up, a non-profit organization committed to furthering philosophical practice. That's what we have set up. And we, just a minute. Yeah, at the PPAI, we promote knowledge and dissemination of various philosophical practices in India and at the international level as well. One of the few things that I would like to mention is we are working on one of the aims and objectives that we have listed out for ourselves is to promote practice of philosophy within and outside academia, because unfortunately, academia thinks that philosophizing is the sole prerogative of only academia, its own job, and nobody else contributes to that. But actually, the contribution of non-academia to philosophy is much more wider and deeper than what academia is doing. But we are comfortably blinded ourselves to these four walls, to support study, research, and application of philosophical practice in India and abroad, to study the classical and contemporary practices of Indian philosophy, to promote research on philosophical practice in classical contemporary practices of Indian philosophy, to discover, promote, invent the application of practices in India, to bring various Indian philosophical practitioners and organizations together to work as a nodal agency between Indian practitioners and organizations and international practitioners and organizations to educate, teach, research, and train philosophical practitioners in India. It's basically we are doing only purely educational training, and the certification that if we can give after some time, that would also be purely on educational related one. To collaborate with the international organizations to identify, support, and assist projects on philosophical practice in India. These are some of the concerns that we have, because we have been, and this journey is long. The previous beginning and the present beginning. I mean, announcing this organization, inaugural of this organization, and the idea that developed in the mind. That journey was also 2 years, And we happen to meet many of our students and colleagues who have shown concern that the way philosophy is being explained and taught in the universities, and the way, especially I'm talking about undergraduate students, they say, I'm not getting anything. Though I have joined for philosophy, I'm not getting anything. I don't know how I should go further or whether I should continue with philosophy. So these are the things which really made me think that, yeah, we have to reorient ourselves in explaining the practicality of philosophy so that the students also get attached to this discipline. And this is what has prompted us to think that we should train the students and reach out to the students and help them. That's where we have one of the objectives where we would like to promote short projects for the students and making them part of this teaching and learning process through this organization. See, whatever is happening in the classrooms, it's already happening, but we want to help them outside the classroom as to how they can philosophize, so that would be useful to their lives. We have a vision. Our vision is to promote philosophy beyond classroom. And we believe that philosophy, when explored creatively, will spark deeper insights into our lives and actions. Our vision is to educate people about philosophical practices, such as philosophical counseling, philosophy for with children, philosophy for teachers and their benefits. In the context of India, we endeavor to use various Indian philosophies in philosophical practices. And our mission is to work upon diverse avenues of philosophical practice and introduce them through various means, such as via interactive sessions, workshops, training programs, seminars, and lectures. These services are customized to suit the individuals, groups, and institutions. And we have an interesting logo that is designed by our colleagues, especially the team led by Vikas, which shows, Vikas, can you show the logo? Which shows, which has fingers pointing out on 4 sides. In fact, we wanted to do it on 8 sides, probably, right? The PPAI logo symbolizes the spirit of thinking. The finger pointing in different directions is a take on Socrates pointing at the sky, representing the multiplicity of directions in which one can think to understand life and its various aspects. The structure at the center represents the logical structures that must accompany and guide one's thinking in these directions, and sometimes probably how they entangle these logical structures, our own thinking, and disturb us as well, so that we can free ourselves from that sometimes. So that's about the logo. And friends, there is one important thing that, yeah, you can withdraw this logo. Yeah, friends, one thing that I should mention is, as I said, beginnings are important, but the people who work for the beginnings would be very small in number, no? And they have to take up so much of hard work and making something possible. Even if it is a small event, a small organization, the work that by a few individuals who work as the foundation, it's tremendous kind of work that was shouldered by my colleagues, Dr. Vikas Beniwal. Most of you know him through the previous conference and other interactions. And then Ms. Madhulika and Ms. Charu. And they have done wonderful work. And it's not, I may be visible here, but actually they should be in the front, because they are the ones who have taken up, shouldered this responsibility of bringing it to the present extent. And they were supported further by many other youngsters and students from the departments of philosophy and education. And I don't know how to be thankful to them, but being thankful to them, rather than being thankful to them, I believe that we should encourage them to work more, right? So that they also find the usefulness of practice of philosophy in their lives, and they guide some more people further. So that's the mission with which we have started. And I must be grateful to the international community, especially, which was always supportive whenever I was looking for some support from someone. It's like I don't know how this is what I believe the greatness of India. It's not the greatness of any individual, sitting here. It is the greatness of India. When you approach somebody for some support, it's like always welcome. Whether the person is from USA or UK or any country, they come forward, Canada, they come forward so nicely and try to support us. I'm immensely grateful to each one of you, for your support and concern for philosophical practice in India and joining us today as well. So these are the few things that I thought I should talk about with regard to the organization. I know I have my own time limitations because we thought we should not have a program for more than 1 hour, mostly 1.5 hours. We should not cross that. So I limit myself now. And if there is anything that is missing, Dr. Vikas and Madhulika would be sharing that with you. I welcome you all to this wonderful movement, and we really feel honored by all of your presence and the students community that has come in support of me, and the faculties, my colleagues from all over India who have supported me, saying that no, we definitely need this and we have to work on this philosophical practice, and we should bring an organization which would work for the philosophical practice. Is tremendous. Senior colleagues, younger colleagues, everyone has come forward to support us, and I really feel blessed by all your support. Thank you so much, and I believe that your support to the organization would continue further, and we build international collaborations and help each other in knowing each other better, so that would be that would further the cause of philosophy. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your address, Professor Bala. It's actually your, enthusiasm and encouraging words that bring us all together as a community and make us want to work harder and go over and beyond. So thank you so much for your words. And now it's a privilege to have with us the next person who would be talking to us, who is no stranger to the philosophical community and philosophical practice, but still, for the curious onlookers, I will briefly introduce him. He's our chief guest for tonight, Professor Lou Marinov, who is a professor of philosophy at the City College of New York, founding president of the American Philosophical Practitioners Association, and editor of Philosophical Practice, Journal of the APPA. A Commonwealth scholar originally from Canada, he earned a PhD in philosophy of science at University College London. To date, he has authored 13 books and more than 65 invited book chapters and peer-reviewed articles. His popular books on philosophy for everyday life are translated into 27 languages. His scholarly interests include Asian philosophy and decision theory. His magnum opus, On Human Conflict, made Founding Fuel's top 10 list of recommended books to commemorate India's 75th year of independence last August. Professor Lou has traveled and taught globally, serving as faculty to organizations including BioVisions, Lyon, Dusser, Canberra, Festival of Thinkers, Abu Dhabi, Horace's Zurich, Soka Gakkai, Tokyo, and the World Economic Forum in Davos. We are elated to have you with us today, Professor Lou Marinov, and we are eager to listen to your words as well. With you, sir.
Thank you so much. Namaste, everyone, and thank you for the honor of addressing you. I will be brief. So, dear friends, colleagues, students, ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for inviting me as the guest of honor at this historic inauguration of the Philosophical Practitioners Association of India, or PPAI. In truth, all honor should be accorded to the venerable traditions of Indian philosophy itself, of which I am a sometime devotee, a lifelong student, and a full-time admirer. Professor Bala has asked me to share some thoughts with you along two different lines. First, about your organization and what people can expect from your work, and second, about my personal journey with the APPA and implications it may hold for the PPAI as well. So along the first line, my initial contact with Professor Bala and his PPAI founding colleagues Vikash Baniwal, Charu Thapdayal, and Majulika Sharma came about 2.5 years ago during early 2020, just as the world was being locked down by the COVID-19 pandemic. Owing to the enthusiasm and interest in philosophical counseling shown by our Indian colleagues, APPA instituted its first ever online certification program for a cohort of Indian philosophers during April and May of 2020. We were deeply impressed by your insight, studiousness, and expertise in Western as well as Indian traditions. So we thank our Indian colleagues for providing the initial impetus for APPA's transition from real to virtual program offerings, which continue successfully to this day and which are expanding. In retrospect, our karmic paths crossed, or possibly recrossed, at a juncture when so many of the world's business, professional, and educational meetings were migrating from embodied encounters to virtual platforms. We will never forget APPA's very first certification program, held at the City College of New York in August 1999. That was a watershed event for our association. And similarly, we will never forget APPA's very first online certification program, held on Zoom during April and May of 2020 for our Indian colleagues. That proved to be a watershed event not only for APPA's virtual programming, but also for our collaboration as midwives to the birth of contemporary philosophical counseling in India. As COVID raged worldwide during 2020, APPA's journal published an unprecedented special double issue covering July through November of that year, titled How Philosophy Can Help During a Global Pandemic. Professor Bala contributed an op-ed to that issue, co-authored by his son Satvik. Our very next issue, published in March 2021, was yet another special offering, this time on philosophical counseling in India, with contributions by 8 erudite pioneering Indian practitioners, including Bala, Vikash, and Charu, who are with us today. And as Bala and some of you may know, at least several papers from that issue were subsequently translated into Chinese, because there is also an interest in China, in philosophical practice, and the Chinese, I think, in their own way, are quite wise to be studying what is going on in India and translating your perennial philosophy into their tongue. During 2021, APPA became aware of a critical mass of interest in philosophical counseling burgeoning in several Indian universities, and reflected in a number of online conferences and no doubt many meetings amongst yourselves, sufficient to engender the founding of the Philosophical Practitioners Association of India, a process that has culminated in the PPAI's inauguration this very day. We at APPA offer our warm congratulations at the swift and steady progress leading to this day, and we look forward to the continued growth and development of the PPAI. Based on our shared experiences of your journey these past 2.5 years, I can venture to say that we can expect a continuation of exactly what you have consistently demonstrated thus far: engagement, energy, erudition, and enthusiasm in the fulfillment of your mission. Now, along the second line, Professor Bala and his colleagues inquired about my personal journey with APPA and what implications it may hold for PPAI. I can tell you this: unlike the writing of books, journeys of national associations are not and cannot be undertaken in solitude. They require concerted efforts by a core group of visionaries who are also practitioners, or practitioners who are also visionaries, as you prefer. In 1999, the founders of APPA had already learned some valuable lessons from the former ASPCP, the American Society for Philosophy, Counseling, and Psychotherapy, in terms of how or how not to frame our own constitution, bylaws, structures, and functions. We had also learned lessons from the Dutch Society for Philosophical Practice, founded in 1987 by Ida Jongsma, Dries Boel, and others, from the German Society, founded in 1983 by Gerd Achenbach, and last but not least, and historically the first, from the Noetic Society, founded in California in 1978 by Pierre Grimes. Truly, Pierre is the first philosophical counselor of our current era, and Pierre, it's wonderful to see you and Regina and Barbara in attendance today, so congratulations to you, and please be recognized for having founded contemporary philosophical counseling for all of us, and we continue to learn from your insight and wisdom on a daily basis. So, as Professor Bala earlier stated, and I'm merely instantiating with some details, these things all had beginnings and beginnings before beginnings, and everyone has learned from our predecessors and continues to do so. So, of course, I'm very pleased to see APPA members in attendance today, including co-directors Lydia and Rick and other invaluable colleagues who have contributed much over the years. In terms of international relations, APPA has certified many practitioners from different countries who went on to found their own national associations, always with our blessings and never with our interference. We do not become embroiled in the domestic affairs of foreign national associations. Rather, we collaborate with them with respect to conference organization, publications, training programs, and the like. We have seen and celebrated, or better witnessed and celebrated, the emergence of associations in Britain, Canada, Denmark, Hong Kong, Israel, Italy, Japan, Mexico, Portugal, Romania, Russia, South Korea, Spain, Sweden, Taiwan, and other places. Today, we witness and celebrate the emergence of the Philosophical Practitioners Association of India. It emanates from the world's most populous democracy, from one of the world's most ancient and continuously philosophical civilizations, and from an epicenter of philosophical practice that transcends yugas, mahayugas, and kalpas of cosmic time. Rest assured that we have met before, and will meet again, whenever and wherever friendship, duty, and dharma coincide to convene us. Meanwhile, we at APA wish you at PPAI every success in fulfilling your important mission, and pledge our collaboration in any way that we can be of service to help further your worthy endeavors. Thank you once again for the signal honor of speaking at such an auspicious occasion.
Thank you so much, Professor Marinov. Thank you so much. Thank you for your insightful, illuminating, and encouraging as always words. It's always a pleasure to hear you. And now I would like to invite the other director of the organization, Dr. Vikas Baniwal, for a few words of the sort. Sir, over to you.
Thank you very much, Charu. Welcome, everyone. I think most of the important things have been shared by Bala sir. So probably I'll just introduce you to the website and to how we are planning to move ahead, and probably invite you to join us in our journey. So here is our website. These are humble beginnings, but these are serious ones. So this is our homepage. About us, Bala sir has already shared about that. Then our team, you have met all of us. A bit about philosophical practice and the source of our inspiration. Right now, we are focusing on philosophical counseling, philosophy for and with children, and philosophy for teachers. And then we intend to move forward to different kinds of philosophical practices, like philosophical cafes, philodramas, etc. So this is our plan. Right now, that is where we are focusing on our services. We are focusing on, as you can see, philosophical counseling, philosophy for teachers, and philosophy for children. And we are making specialized courses for organizations and institutions, and we are already in touch with multiple organizations and developing courses for them. There are rather three ways in which you can engage with us directly. First is, if you want to be in touch with what's the latest in PPAI, then you can log in, create an account here, and become a subscriber. Second, if you want to participate in different training programs, academic programs, there are 2 memberships available. We have kept students in mind right now, and these memberships are right now not open for international participants and for the international community, but only for Indians because of various legal reasons. So right now we are our target audience is students, and that's how we are beginning. We are right now offering our services for certified philosophical practitioners. Those who become members may get their names listed in our on our website on this page. So, for example, Gorika is one of the philosophical counselors who has joined us. We are not being too ambitious, and we do not have the capacity to develop a platform like PPAI in which they are making online chat available for people. So we are just sharing contact details so that interested people can directly contact philosophical counselors. And you can contact us through the website, share your needs, your requirements. There's a contact number and there is an email ID. And there are some previous events and related events that we have shared. So this is about our conference. And then there is social feed, so which comes directly onto the website. So yeah, this is more or less the website. Yeah, so in case you would like to join us, and as and when we develop courses, we would also like to invite all the philosophical practitioners and our colleagues at different universities to join us as mentors, teachers, and resource persons. That's all from my side. Charu, back to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Baniwal, for sharing the website with all of us. I'm sure everyone will go back once the meeting is over and take a look and get back to us with any feedback, comments, improvements, and if you have any insights to share, a quick email will always be appreciated. Now, before moving ahead, I would like to invite everyone for their comments. If you would like to share anything, because this is a community endeavor, it's our organization, it's our endeavor, it's our community. So we want to hear from everyone present here as well, to not just be a curious onlooker, but maybe just be more vocal about the ongoings today. And if there's anyone who would like to say something, if you could kindly raise your hand, and we will invite you on board. But before that happens, if possible, I would like to invite somebody who has been very patiently, very kindly, very silently been listening to everything, but he really is the giant who's showed us we are standing on. Professor Pierre Grimes is with us today, and we would be honored to have a few words from you as well, sir, if possible.
I don't think he needs, unmute yourself, Pierre.
Go right ahead.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
We started philosophical midwifery in the Noetic Society way back in '78. Been a few years, you might say.
But we formed this group with a group of friends who had a great interest in philosophy and a special kind of philosophy. They were interested in exploring dialogue and dialectic in the Platonic tradition, and then we expanded it wherever we found a wisdom tradition that could complete and add to our vision of the noblest game of philosophy. What are we? We're a rather curious group of people. I'm always amazed at them because they're going along with a journey that springs out of my own background and then has been added to it ever since. One goal only: to use the mind, to discover the mind, and discover its fundamental and intrinsic source. The source, of course, we call the one self. In other words, we return to an Indian key concept, the Atman. And we have been exploring that through many systems, and we have been consistently pursuing Plato, the Platonic tradition, and especially that thoughtfulness of Proclus's elements of theology, and especially his philosophy of theology. So our group comes together, we meet at least twice a week on Zoom. We play this game and add to it what Plato discovers is important to do, which is the study of dreams. For in the 9th book of his Republic, he says that's the way we come together to gain insights into ourselves, for that is the most important process in discovering the self. So I would like to thank you for inviting me. I think your traditions are as noble and as challenging, and we come together to continue that dialogue in order to discover the depth of ourselves, the profundity of our nature, and the spiritual destiny of man. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you so much, sir. If I invite Dr. Vikrapati as well, somebody who's been with us since day one, for a few words and comments, sir. Yes, if you can unmute yourself, Professor Vikrapati, we would love to hear from you as well, sir.
Charu, was that me that you were referring to? Because I couldn't hear you. I was like, I hope they're not asking me because I can't even hear. Something froze. But can you hear me well?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for putting me on the spot. I didn't expect to speak. But yeah, I'm so honored to be a part of this, and I'm especially honored to be asked to speak. So I'll just say a few words from my heart. After your group got its certification from APA, your group invited me to do a presentation to your group, and I felt honored to do that. And I kind of fell in love with each and every one of you. When I met you, you're all the sweetest people. And the fact that we share these interests is just phenomenal to me. I particularly love everything that I've heard today about PPAI and APA's history and how we're together. I was thrilled to hear from, Lou, and then from Pierre. What a gift. Pleased to meet you, Pierre, for the first time. I've seen you here before in this space, but yeah, I love what Pierre said, and I'm just going to second that. And Lou said things in the same spirit, but Indian philosophy has been this spirit for millennia. And I love the way Lou said, we've done this before and we'll do it again. I tend to think that something like that is true. So I think that this is a very auspicious event, and I'm just thrilled to be here. And I will be very happy to help out in any way that I can in any of your programs or whatever, or even to just be a witness or a supporter, a friend. This is very exciting time. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Prabhaki, for your words. And I apologize in advance for to anyone who I'm going to put on the spot, because I am going to put people on the spot. We just have this wonderful community of people here, and every chance that we come together is a chance for all of us to hear what's going on in the other part of the world, right? So definitely, I'm going to put some people on the spot. Please forgive me in advance for that. Yes, we already have a hand that's up. Dr. Regina Oliana, please, we would love to hear from you. Probably, yes.
I was just giving my thumbs up to Rick.
Thank you, Regina.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Dr. Lydia Amir, we would be delighted to hear from you as well. Any comments about the proceedings today?
Thank you very much for putting me on the spot and for inviting me in the first place. I was contacted a few years ago by one of Professor Bala's students. I didn't know Professor Bala at the time. That man called himself Ashoka and wanted to create a philosophical practice organization in India and wanted my help in helping him become a philosophical practitioner. I did my best with that young man and these young friends. And then Professor Bala contacted me and they said, yes, there is already someone else, Ashoka. He said, oh, he's my student. So I had the honor to work with Professor Bala and other colleagues who invited me to give a talk in other universities as well in India. It was uplifting for me to talk to these deep minds and souls, and I felt immediately a connection. There was such wisdom in the people I met through the Zoom, and such an understanding of what I could bring or my own thought or my own philosophy, even regardless of philosophical practice, although it's a practical philosophy. So I was deeply moved by that. And in the same way that maybe I could have been helpful in the past, I'm very much interested to be even more helpful in the present and in the future in any way you may find fit for you anywhere in India. Thank you so much. And good luck. I'm sure it's going to be a great success.
Thank you so much, Dr. Amit, for your well wishes and your wonderful comments. Friends, I would like to now invite some of the Indian professors who are here and who are working on, propagating and furthering the cause of philosophical practice in their own colleges. We have the privilege of having some of them with us here today. Maybe Dr. Prashant Shukla, if you are here, we would love to hear from you, sir. Comments about not just today, but in general about PPAI as a whole. Dr. Prashant Shukla.
Yeah, thank you, Charuji. And I'm so sorry there is some network trouble, so that's why I'm using my audio only. It has been such a wonderful experience being a part of the Philosophical Practitioners Association in India. All thanks goes to Professor Balaganpati. And we have taken the opportunity, no doubt. And as I can see, as I can experience in the last 2 years' experience, yes, our students, our colleagues are very much enthusiastic about this upcoming field in the philosophy. Of course, we were a little bit apprehensive in the beginning, but as we moved further in due course of time, listening to the giants of philosophical counseling, we realized that yes, it is something which we should pursue further because here the future of philosophy actually lies. So I can say that it's like a complementary thing. I mean, combining counseling and philosophy together, it's really an enriching experience. And thanks a lot for inviting me. And I'm really happy and find myself privileged to be a part of the group. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Prashant Shukla. Thank you so much for your kind words. Dr. Namita Nimbalkar, ma'am, you've written a comment. We would love to hear from you, if possible.
Good evening, everyone. And it is such a pleasure to be a part of this journey of PPAI. And I'm looking forward to see that how it can bring about a very transformative change in the society. And thank you, Professor Lou Marinov, for pointing out various aspects, and the end part, the conclusion part of yours was very, very motivating for each and every one of us. And congratulations to Professor Bala Ganpati, to Professor Vikas, and to other practitioners too, who would be contributing towards the same. And it's really one more aspect which really caught my attention is that wherein we are speaking about that how philosophical counseling can be used for children, or rather how we can try to make it fit for the children. And this is an encouraging aspect as far as this particular journey is concerned. Thank you and congratulations and best wishes.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for your encouraging words. I would like to invite Professor Panani Selvam. So if you could kindly unmute yourself and share a few words.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. First of all, I congratulate Professor Pala and his wonderful team, especially Vikas and Charu, for making this effort. Now, let me tell you my experience with regard to the philosophical counseling. I think it was in the year 2015, I visited South Korea and made a presentation on philosophical counseling in India. Of course, my approach was to show that how in the Indian philosophical tradition, especially the Upanishadic tradition, gives a scope for philosophical counseling. And I argued that Lord Krishna is the first philosophical counselor. My paper was liked by the Western audience. And one of the professors came to me and said, "This is very nice, but come to our meet, that is in the evening at 7 p.m. and listen to our mode of approach to this problem of philosophical counseling." So I attended that evening session, wherein it was a very rigorous session. That was a dialogue between a teacher and a student. And later, the professor told me that this Platonic method of dialogue is very much essential in order to develop the philosophical counseling. Then I told him that if you look at the Upanishadic teaching, we see similar dialogical approach wherein we can understand the significance of counseling. But there are some issues which we have to tackle. And I am always fascinated by our Professor Louis, who has, I think it was in the year 2001, he wrote a wonderful book of philosophical practice, if I'm right. That book, I should say, has influenced me a lot. In fact, I worked out a methodology wherein I try to argue that how the Western methods like the phenomenological method, the hermeneutical method, the analytical method could be used as a method of philosophical counseling. But from Indian side, we can use especially Bhagavad Gita as well as Shankara's Advaita Vedanta in order to understand philosophical counseling, because it is in India, we focus on the notion of self, which unfortunately is not seen properly by the Western tradition, especially the phenomenological and the analytical tradition, etc. So our approach, that is our approach here, I mean the Indian approach to the whole problem, is somewhat interesting, and also it can give a guidance to the entire mode of understanding. But as I said just now, there is one small problem. we have to differentiate ourselves from psychological counseling. Because when I was, now I am retired professor, when I was teaching in Madras University, we wanted to introduce a philosophical counseling as one elective paper. But the objection came from the psychology department by saying that it is their prerogative, in the sense that they think that only psychological counseling can give a solution to many of the problems. Then I have to argue that how philosophical counseling is different from the psychological counseling, and how a philosopher can give a new direction. This is very much essential, because in philosophical counseling, I mean, normally philosophy is seen as something abstract. But if we tell people that how philosophy can be practiced, then this philosophical counseling in India can pick up very well. Of course, in foreign countries, in US especially, and in Canada and in France, this philosophical counseling has attained a special status. But in India, I think it has to, it will take some more time. But we must make our effort in this direction, so that we can tell our students, especially, and young scholars, that how it could have a direct bearing on life. Because philosophy, unfortunately, in India is separated from that of life, because we always talk about something abstract, but it has got a direct bearing on life. This is possible provided we focus on Indian philosophical tradition, especially the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and also the Vedanta. Then we can give a different methodology altogether with regard to philosophical counseling. This is what I would like to say at present. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your insightful words, Professor Panani Selvam. I would like to invite Professor G. Mishra for his comments. Professor Mishra. If you could kindly unmute, Professor Mishra. And in the meantime, I would also like to encourage some of the students to raise their hands, as we will be turning the lens to you next after this, and we would love to hear from you regarding everything that you've heard today.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible? Yeah.
Yes.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. I would like to, while thanking Dr. Bala Ganapati and all others for this opportunity, I did not know that I have to speak a few words, but I would like to speak now that you have given an opportunity. First, I would like to say that Indian philosophy is practical, and it has been having a therapeutic value from the time immemorial. And this is the number one observation. Second observation, which I quote, West and East in some way would not meet each other and would not be able to understand each other. However, we try to understand them, the West will remain like, not all of them, many of them would not be able to understand our philosophical ethos, because I have seen the best philosophical model that would be acceptable to the West is that where there should be a God, a mystical God, a grace-giving God, and nothing beyond that, something like abstract God, which is unmystical, will not be acceptable to the West. This has been happening all along, like starting from Desmet, before that Max Muller onwards till date. This has been the problem with the West, whereas this has never been the problem in the East. As Professor Panani Selvam just now told, Krishna was a counselor. He was doing philosophical counseling for what? For action. What is the message of Gita? Karma Yoga. What is the message of Bhagavatam? How to handle the problems of life that has been happening in all the Upanishads. You know, one example I would like to give before I end. See, Charaka, in his writing, Charaka Samhita says, I am grateful to Samkhya philosopher who has modeled his philosophy and given me the clue to develop my thinking, which has implication of for human health. Vata, Pitta and Kapha is based on Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. This is one example I want to give here. That is what Buddha does. Calls people and by his counseling, he simply addresses their conspicuous pain they are suffering from. You tell me there is it was done by Socrates. It was done by a few in the West. I am not telling that it is not there in the West, but our model is different. Their model is different. And I don't say that we are running in parallel lines, but as much as we are trying to understand the West also should try to understand ourselves. Our philosophical systems are not mystical; they are practical. They have message for life. They address the problems of life in many things. As Sankara to Buddha to Upanishads, up to Vivekananda till date, whomever you can say, Jaggi Vasudev, Sri, many Swami Dayananda. This is what they have been doing, and we should try to imbibe their spirit, their message, in order to make our life meaningful. And thanks, Vala, for this effort we have taken in making an inroad into understanding Indian philosophy in a much better way, going into the practical implications which it has been having all through. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. I would like to invite Akshat Kapoor for a few words now. And any other students who would like to come and talk, please raise your hands and we'll let you in.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, please go on.
Hello, thank you, Charu. Thank you so much to the PPAI team. It's wonderful to see finally an Indian association out there. And just to inform you, I just finished my master's in philosophy, during which I also completed my logic-based consultancy course. And I've started off with moving from academia to industry. And I've recently incorporated a startup related to philosophical consultancy, personal development, and professional coaching. So it's absolutely wonderful to have your support, and anybody who would like to, have support in terms of moving from academia to industry. I'm still finding those challenges in terms of finding a market segment and to actually reach people out there. So this is a big boost for us. I would really like to congratulate Bala sir and his team for this, and listening to Lou Marinov sir is always a pleasure. And yes, just a couple of things that I feel are relevant. It's a specific code of ethics in terms of what differentiates us from, say, psychological counseling or counseling in general, and how we can get young students certified, how we can get teachers certified through a specific universal code of ethics would be a big boost in terms of how we practice it out there. And in terms of, dodging the legal requirements, that is also something that we have to be mindful of. Just thank you so much to all the teachers, professors, and the team. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Akshat. Thank you for your comments. We'll take final comments from Arundhati Chakraborty, another student, and then we'll conclude the event because a lot of international professors have, kindly been with us here for more than an hour. So Arundhati, if you'll kindly unmute yourself and speak, we would love to.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Firstly, heartiest congratulations to the founding members and the entire team behind PPAI. My admiration for philosophical counseling in particular rose when Delhi University offered an optional paper in the subject. And luckily it was with our batch of students who had joined in 2019, and it was offered in our final semester. It was wonderful to know the subject in detail. And frankly speaking, I made a switch from, I did a bachelor's in physics, and then I switched over to a master's in philosophy. Because it's just that I thought the larger questions in life were something I wanted to read more about, enjoy discussing. That's how I made the switch, and I discovered how beautiful the subject is. I know it's rare to make such switches, but since I experienced that joy, I'm so happy that this association is being set up where philosophy will be made more available to public and everybody will be able to benefit from it. I myself would love to contribute in any way possible. I will probably do something. I have been thinking about it for a long time now. I've been discussing with a lot of people as well. And I'll definitely utilize an year in between, because right now I'm sitting in London completing my master's at UCL, my second master's. Well, yeah, I've been too excited about philosophy. So I'll utilize a year of break that I'll be taking starting from October while doing PhD applications. And I'll look for more to come. I'll definitely go to the website, join as a member as well very soon. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. It was indeed a very prosperous beginning. I would like to thank our guest of honor, Dr. Lou Marinov. Thank you for your constant support, sir. I thank all the pioneer professors and students for sharing their comments about this endeavor. PPAI is not just an organization, but it is a community of people who wish to see philosophy reach out to people beyond academia. We hope that with the help of our Indian and international fellow speakers, we would successfully progress in our goal. For any further information, please visit our website, ppai-edu.in. You may contact us on our email address or the phone number mentioned on the website. On the behalf of four of us, I would like to thank everyone again and wish all the best to all of you. Namaste. Please, everyone, stay for a picture. We would encourage everyone to turn on their videos. And
yeah, while we are going ahead with this photograph session, please switch on your cameras. I just want to add a few things, friends. Because while talking about introducing the membership, he said at the moment there are some institutional things that we have to take care of. That's so we cannot accept any international membership, because the government of India requires that certain period of time an institution has to exist so that international membership can be allowed. So that's how it's at the moment we are constrained by the institutional entanglements. So please bear with us, but otherwise we seek all your support all the time. And the second point is, as I said, this is only one of the beginnings. There are many beginnings that we have and we are going to have. Even the other beginning that we are contemplating is like an inaugural panel where some discussion on an aspect of philosophical practice happens. This is a formal, we are not completely getting into academic discourses or intricacies of the practicalities, but we will have separate sessions of panel discussions where we can come together and have a discussion on the practicality and the practicality of the academic and academic of the practicality, both in future inaugural beginnings, some more beginnings. And in that's where we would like to choose certain themes, like as Akshat said, code of ethics. And I remember Professor Lou Marinov's talk on code of ethics, how important it is. So I believe we can have a particular discussion, a particular panel devoted to this aspect and also other aspects as well. As I said, we began with few people so that we can do the hard work, so that other people can come in and join us in the journey. So now the organization is for everyone, and I invite all of you to enthusiastically participate in it, become members, and let us work together. It's not anybody's organization, it is the organization of everyone, whoever comes in. So you have to opt to come in. So that's the only thing, because we believe that we are free individuals and we have to make choices. So I invite you to make a choice of joining the journey that we have begun, because the person who begins the journey is not the one who stays till the end, because we don't know what is the end. Right? The one who sows the seed may not enjoy the fruits. So all of you are welcome to enjoy the fruits. And I really believe that you own this organization and take it further, and we have to see how it really helps people. So let's work on that. Thank you so much. Thanks to all of you for joining. It's really wonderful. Thank you. Are you done with this photographs, Charu? Group photos?
Yeah.
Screenshots? Yeah. In that case, thank you so much. I really appreciate sparing your time and joining us today. Namaste.